We're getting spring soccer. That's it. That's the tease. That's all that matters. That's all you should care about. Taylor Thames has swooped in to save the day because he knows that 11 college boys kicking around a ball for 90 minutes will fix everything that's wrong with the world. Trust me, I was a poli-sci minor for a semester, and that's a proven effective policy method. Hello, I'm Siobhan Nolan.
And I'm Libby Gilliland. With Siobhan's favorite sport back in business for the spring, get excited because we will get to share our top-tier soccer and golf knowledge with you. You're watching Salle TV's home for Explorer Athletics, SportsLine.
Welcome to SportsLine. Winter sports may be winding down, but we certainly aren't. We've got plenty of recaps to keep you up to speed on LaSalle sports this past week.
And later, we have another live interview, this time with the captains of the women's rowing team.
But first, let's take a look at our SportsLine top 3.
Number 1, Kayla Spurl was named Big 5 Player of the Week this week following 2 excellent performances for the Explorers. In LaSalle's 2 victories this past week, Spurl averaged 20.5 points, shot 64% from the field, and 55.6% from three-point range. She has reached double digits in 19 games, including the last 6 straight. This is her second Big 5 honor this season, having previously earned it on January 10th of this year.
Number 10, men's soccer will be playing 5 scrimmages in March and April, ushering in a short spring season to prepare for fall. The first 4 games will take place at McCarthy Stadium, with Bucknell on March 5th, followed by Mount St. Mary's on April 2nd, Millersville on April 15th, Seton Hall on April 22nd, and will wrap up with an away game at Drexel on April 29th. Head coach Taylor Thames said of the 5 games, quote, "We are excited to get back on McCarthy Field this spring and represent LaSalle as we continue to focus on our program's principles. We're excited to put together a competitive spring schedule for 2022. The 4 Division I teams are from the NEC, Patriot League, CAA, and Big East, while Millersville is a very strong Division II team that made it to the Elite 8 in the Division II National Tournament."
Number 3, Phoebe Shea was named Atlantic 10 Diver of the Year following her gold medal performance in the 1-meter dive at the Atlantic 10 Championships this past weekend. In addition to her A10 accolade, Shea was also named NovaCare Student Athlete of the Week this week. On top of that, Shea will also be competing in the NCAA Zone A Diving Championships March 5th to 7th at Navy.
So we have a really, strong top 3. Kayla Spurl getting Big 5 Player of the Week, her second this season, which is obviously big for her, and it's well-deserved. She's just been incredible over the past 2 games, averaging 20.5 points. She's such an impactful player on the court, so she's just been such a big figure in this women's team, so she definitely deserves it this week.
Yeah, again, we say her name all the time, and as a senior, it's amazing to see her stepping up in the way that she has, and to have a really strong last few games is incredible for her, and hopefully it gives her, the confidence of just going out of the program in a good way.
And then, obviously, like we were saying, spring soccer, we get 5 games. I'm very excited. They have a lot of new people coming in. They've already announced 6 players. They're getting some more coming into the fall, so it's going to be great to see these guys kind of see how they work with the team, see how they fit into Coach Thames' system. So I'm really excited to see how the team's been preparing now that, they're getting back on it. They have fresh legs. They've been training really hard. So it's going to be really exciting to see them get back out there this spring.
Yeah, I can say having 2 seasons, fall and spring, it really helps the team camaraderie. You're staying in shape, and time management, everything stays in place, and you don't really have that break. And it's honestly helpful. I like having 2 seasons just opposed to 1, so it's really great, and I'm excited to see them play for the spring.
And then Phoebe Shea getting A10 Diver of the Year, that's such a huge honor. She was the only LaSalle swimmer/diver to medal in the A10 championship, so it's really great just to see her kind of getting her flowers for that. And, she's been great all season for diving, so, again, another well-deserved honor for a LaSalle athlete.
Yeah, a great end of the season for her, and good to see that she got the NovaCare Student Athlete of the Week just to top it off.
And that's it for top 3. Now let's see how our teams did in this week's recaps. Men's basketball continued their road trip this weekend, heading up to Amherst to take on UMass. The game started off in the Explorers' favor with back-to-back threes from Jack Clark and Jameer Brickus, sparking an offensive burst that would put LaSalle ahead 11-8. However, an 18-3 run from the Minutemen would follow, allowing them to take a 26-13 lead. Threes from Anwar Gill and Jameer Brickus did little to stifle the UMass offense as they steamrolled ahead to take a 40-28 lead going into halftime. A Josh Nickelberry three-pointer opened up the second half, and the Explorers would embark on a 10-2 run to cut the deficit to 4. Jack Clark would tie the game up at 48, and a triple from Christian Ray would equalize again after UMass sunk a three of their own, but it wouldn't be enough as the Explorers were handed an 80-74 loss. It was then off to the Bronx to take on Fordham, where Christian Ray was the only source of offense for the Explorers in the opening minutes of the game. Khalil Brantley got in on the action, cutting the Rams' lead down to 2. But Fordham would respond with 9 straight points to take a 21-10 lead. The Rams would hold tight to those 11 points, heading into halftime with a 27-16 advantage. Jack Clark got things going in the second half with a three-pointer, and Ray would lead a 14-2 run, scoring 10 points to bring things to a narrow 36-35 scoreline. Baskets were traded back and forth, and Clark would once again bring the score to within a point, but the Explorers would leave Rose Hill Gym with a 60-54 loss.
Women's basketball celebrated their seniors well, taking 2 wins this week as their regular season approaches its close. The first was the senior night game against St. Louis. The Explorers took an early lead that included an 11-0 run created by 3 three-pointers. Their shooting stayed hot, and they led 40-21 at the end of the first half. A scoring spurt would put the Billikens behind by just 4 points at the end of the third, but back-to-back threes from the Explorers in the fourth was too much to manage for St. Louis, and the Explorers took their senior night win 73-65. LaSalle shot 43% from 3, and Kayla Spurl led the team with 17 points. Wednesday night at home was a thriller that led to another win for the Explorers. The game stayed close at the end of each quarter, with no team able to gain a lead more than 6 points. With 19 seconds remaining, LaSalle was up by just 1 point until the Dukes made a layup to take the lead with 7 seconds left. Claire Jacobs made a jumper with 0.2 of a second left in the game to give the Explorers the win. Kayla Spurl once again led the team with 17 points. LaSalle is on a 3-game winning streak and is currently 8-6 in the A10 and 15-11 overall.
The swimming and diving team competed in the A10 championships over the weekend, where multiple Explorers brought home medals. On the men's side, senior Zachary Wilbert was a powerhouse, taking home 3 medals for the blue and gold and making it the 4th consecutive season that he medaled in a conference championship. Senior Steven Stostola took home 2nd place in the 1-meter final and set a career best. On the final day of the championship, junior Sam Hedinger took home bronze in the 3-meter dive, making it the 2nd medal of his career thus far. After the long 4-day tournament, the men's team racked up enough points to place them in 6th overall. As for the women's team, senior Phoebe Shea took home the only Explorers gold medal in the 1-meter dive. Sarah Rosetta was able to take home silver in the 200 free. The women accumulated enough points to put them 9th place overall. To end out the weekend, the Explorers collectively took home 7 medals across the board. To top it all off, women's head diving coach Ian Forlini was named A10 Women's Diving Coach of the Year. All in all, the Explorers crushed the A10s.
Lacrosse had 2 games this week that ended with a split record. First up was a contest against Mount St. Mary's. Maddie Henderson got the scoring started with 2 goals in the first. Claudia Steinmetz added a goal of her own, giving LaSalle an early 3-1 lead. Unfortunately, the Mountaineers were able to tie it before the end of the quarter. The second was much of the same, with both teams scoring 2 goals in the period. LaSalle was finally able to take the lead in the third, with goals from Maddie Henderson and Kiki Venza, making the score 7-6 going into the fourth quarter. The Mountaineers were able to outscore the Explorers 2-1 in the fourth, taking the game into overtime. It was a defensive battle through 2 periods, but until Emily Johnston was able to put one away in the second and score with a score of 10-9. Then on Wednesday, the Explorers were on the road to take on Delaware. The game was tied 4-4 after the first quarter. Unfortunately, the Explorers couldn't keep up with the Blue Hens, and they fell 14-9.
So pretty exciting week for LaSalle sports. Men's team didn't get any better on their road trip, so they're now on a 6-game losing streak, I believe, which is really disheartening because they had a lot of conference play this past week, and their scorelines have not been that terrible. They've had some really close games, but it just seems to be that when they go behind, they lose any competitiveness. They lose any desire to really get back ahead and win. And you know, they rely on their three-point shots, they rely on their ambitious shooting, and it's just not getting any better. So, you know, these scorelines are disappointing, and the fact that they're now doing so badly in the conference as well is just really disheartening for the men's team.
It's hard to see them lose 6 games in a row this close to the end of the season. I worry about them going into next season, what their confidence is going to be like just coming off a really tough season. But on the other hand, the girls are doing incredible. It's so fun to watch them. And hopefully the guys can kind of see the team camaraderie that they have and copy that into what they need to work on for next season.
Yeah, enough cannot be said about Claire Jacobs and her buzzer beater. That was such an intense, dramatic moment, and with 0.2 of a second left after, you know, they've had a very back and forth game. Mountain McGilvery had to call multiple timeouts. It was a very tough game against Duquesne, and Duquesne's a great basketball team. So the fact that Claire Jacobs was able to kind of take that shot and display that fearlessness, honestly, it paid off. So it's really great to see that she was able to, you know, kind of take that leap of faith and that it worked out in the Explorers' favor.
It shows a lot of grit, and we've seen it all season, but again, so close to the end of the season, getting these 2 wins, the win on senior night, it does a lot for their confidence. And going into the tournament, hopefully they can really capitalize on that. And again, Kayla Spurl, we keep saying her name, 17 points. We're going to talk about Claire Jacobs, but at the end of the day, Kayla Spurl led the team in both games.
Absolutely, and that's it for recaps, but when we come back, rowing captains Kate Basie and Lily Henshaw join us for a live on-desk interview.
According to statistics, 40 million adults suffer from depression or anxiety. 1 in 4 college students are affected by this as well. You never know who is going through something, so you should always be kind to one another. A little kindness can go a long way. It might even save a life.
Yo, bro, what's good?
What's going on?
How you feeling, man?
Doing good. How you doing?
When'd you start smoking?
Smoking? This is Jewel, bro.
It's a Juul?
Yeah.
Listen, you might as well be smoking cigarettes. When you start juuling or vaping, you're 4 times more likely to start smoking cigarettes.
Is that true?
That's very true. Give me this one. You don't need it.
To learn more about e-cigarettes, go to thetruth.com.
According to the Mayo Clinic, exercising has stress-busting benefits by bumping up your endorphins and improving your mood.
Welcome back. Rowing is one of the LaSalle sports that we don't get to talk about enough here on SportsLine. Well, today we're going to do just that. Recently named captains for the women's team, we'd like to welcome Kate Basie and Lily Henshaw. Kate and Lily, thank you so much for being here today. We're really excited to talk to you a little bit. Could you just give us a little recap of your season last year? What happened? What was good? What was bad? A little update.
So we have a fall season as well as a spring season. So we saw a lot of growth this fall with our new freshmen and some of the new members on our squad. So it was definitely a lot different this fall than it was last spring. And we were pretty successful, so it paid off.
Yeah, we have a lot of newcomers, and over the winter we've really been able to bond with them, and I'm really excited to see all of us on the water this spring.
Yeah, and having all those new freshmen is such an exciting thing for any team. So what impact do you hope that this new class is going to have on your team for the spring season?
They're definitely significantly faster, and there's more of them than there ever has been. So I think that that's really going to pay off when we go to this spring to compete against some of the bigger schools that we don't normally do as well with.
Yeah, they offer up a lot, and I'm hoping that they set like a new tone for LaSalle rowing, just with future seasons coming up.
Yeah, and talking about how you have the spring and the fall season, I think that helps a lot with camaraderie and everything. Can you talk about what the team dynamic is like this spring and like training over the winter compared to the fall?
So the spring is our like sprint season. The fall we have longer races. So coming into the spring, it's a lot different. We're working harder, I would say, all at once than before. So it's going to be interesting to sort of see how what we did this winter pays off this spring.
Yeah, I would say the fall season is really focused on making sure that the new freshmen, like everyone finds their place on the team and everyone starts working as a team together. And after all our practice in fall and winter, our team is working really well together.
Yeah, and since so much work does go into, rowing and everything, what is kind of a day in the life for you guys while you're in training and preparing for the season?
So we practice in the early morning. I get up at like 5:15 typically, so we're on the bus by 5:45, and then we'll get back to campus around 9 o'clock, and most of us will head right to class. And then we have a second session, usually in the afternoon. We'll do some more like steady state during that time, and then usually for me it's to bed by like 9 o'clock. I'm not a late night owl anymore.
So can you talk about the upcoming season that you have? What events are you most excited for?
All of our racing happens in April. That's when a lot of things will be happening on the Schuylkill. Almost every Saturday, I think that we have a race. And then our big race is A10s, which is in mid-May, and that's happening on the Cooper River in New Jersey.
And so you guys being named captain is obviously such an exciting honor. So was it a surprise to be named captain? Just how did you feel when you got that honor, and what do you hope to kind of achieve as the leaders of the team?
So I'm definitely excited because we did not have captains previously. So I think it definitely will allow the team to bond a lot more, just having somebody to always go to with any problems. So I'm glad that me and Kate are going to be able to do that for the younger people on the team.
Yeah, and it's exciting to see that people see you as a leader. And we're excited for that role.
And rowing is a big team sport, but of course there's things that you work on individually. Going into this season, is there anything personally that you're trying to improve upon?
Getting faster.
It's always a personal goal to like be in the fastest boat. So I think just like trying to get there is it's everybody on the team's goal. So.
And one thing that has, I'm sure, affected the team a lot has been this kind of tumultuous coaching changes. You guys have had to adapt to a lot of that. So what is it like to have to constantly, adapt to new coaching and new styles and just having to navigate that?
It's definitely difficult. It's not the easiest thing. And I think that teams kind of have two choices when they come to a challenge like that, which is like to get really frustrated with the sport or just dig in deeper and work harder. And I think our team has responded like that, and it's really helped us come closer.
I think it's definitely bonded us as a team. We sort of all have been obviously going through the same struggle with the whole thing. So having other people to talk about things with makes everything so much easier, and it's definitely gotten us a lot closer.
Yeah. And you kind of walked us through a day in the life of a practice, but walk us through what an event day looks like when you're going to the water. What's your mindset and how do you prepare?
We'll usually get there pretty early in the morning, well before our races. And before races, it's pretty quiet. We're all kind of hanging out, getting prepared, eating what we need to eat, and then we get on the water about 30-45 minutes before our race to get our bodies warm and get in our boats, and then we'll come down the course. And once we're done with our races, we cheer others on.
And now for my favorite part of live interviews, we're going to ask you guys about some team superlatives. So you can basically name anyone on the team that comes to mind. So first of all, who has the best music taste on the team?
Oh gosh, our ox is usually Georgia.
Yeah.
She's always on ox pretty much. We fight with the boys. We share the practice space with the boys, but if it's anybody, it's likely Georgia.
And even though you guys get up really early in the morning, who is like definitely not a morning person on the team?
Sarah Reed is usually the one who's running to meet us at the bus.
She always makes it, but
That's good.
Hasn't been late.
Yeah. And are you guys like coffee drinkers at all? Like, do you need coffee to get through the day? So are you like a Starbucks, Dunkin' kind of person? Like, what's your order for coffee?
I'm a Dunkin' girl myself, but
Yeah.
the Starbucks on campus is easy to go to, so
Mm-hmm.
I usually go there.
Yeah.
And then who would you say is the best dancer on the team?
I feel like Claire Cornish is always doing TikTok dances.
I've seen Madison Jack.
And
who
Madison
busted a couple
Jack, too.
moves. Yeah.
And so going along with that, who would you say is the best singer as well?
I'd say Maddie Clune.
Oh, Maddie Clune.
Yeah.
She's a coxswain, so she has a little headset, so she's always on a microphone.
We always get to hear.
Yeah. And then who is like someone who complains the most during your practices?
Ooh,
Question.
I don't know a complainer. I feel like we all kind of complain because it's
Yeah.
always it's always a little tough in the morning and then in the cold too.
And then who has the best fashion sense on the team, do you think? You can say yourselves if you want.
I think Lily has pretty good fashion sense.
I
Always
also
walking
think
around
Kira,
campus.
my roommate Kira,
True.
she's always got a good outfit on.
Yeah. And so who is like the mom or like the parent of the team for like the men's and the women's?
Oh dear.
Angela. She's a senior on the team. She's been here a while.
And what are your all's favorite memories just from your time in LaSalle rowing?
I think A10's last year was definitely like the time when like the whole team got super close, all like really fast. We were all together all day, so we were playing games and like doing stuff all day.
Yeah. Mine is head of the Schuylkill last fall. It was probably our first big regatta after COVID where spectators were allowed, and that was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you so much to our guests, Kate and Lily, for coming on. But now we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll give you the upcoming games for this week.
What if one day you went to that secret place, that spot that only you know about, and instead of what you came for, you found this? What would you do? Would you stop and give it some thought? The truth is, all drug use comes with risk. Before those risks become real, before drugs turn your life upside down, before drugs take their toll on you and your family, know that there is help. You can quit. If you or someone you love is struggling with drug use or prescription drug misuse, call 1-800-662-HELP for 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/knowtherisks.
Welcome back. Here are the LaSalle sporting events coming up this week. First up, on Saturday the 26th, track and field travel to Fairfax, Virginia to compete in the A10 championships. Lacrosse travels to Easton, PA to take on Lafayette. Water polo is also on the move to New York for a doubleheader against Wagner and Iona.
Then, men's basketball comes back to Tom Gola Arena to take on Duquesne for their senior night on Saturday, March 5th. The women's team will be facing off against George Washington for their final game of the regular season before heading to Wilmington for A10 championships. So we finally get to see track and field back on the schedule. That's exciting.
Very exciting.
I know,
Yeah.
and then A10 championships, obviously that's what everybody looks forward to. That's what we've been saying. So it'll be exciting to see where everyone finishes with that.
Absolutely. We saw the women do well, so hopefully see some good results as well from the men.
Yeah, and then men's basketball finally coming back to Tom Gola for their senior night. Hopefully they can pull out a win there. I know it's not going to mean a ton with the current season record and the fact that they don't have many games left in the season, but you know, a win's a win, and it would be nice to see on their senior night.
Yeah. And I think it does mean a lot in a way, just for the seniors to go out. They've had a disappointing season, but I think if they get this win, it makes it feel a little bit better. It doesn't hurt as bad, and just to show up, be at home again, and win at home would be really nice for them.
Absolutely, because seniors like Clifton Moore, you know, they've had such an impact on this team in particular, so it would be nice to kind of close things out on a nice note. And then the women will be in Virginia to take on George Washington for their last game of the regular season, so hopefully they can finish strong as well before A10 championships, which will take place next weekend, and that'll be really exciting to see how far they make it in that.
Yeah, I think they have a really great momentum going right now, and hopefully they can really capitalize on that. And heading into this last game, a 4-game winning streak would really be great going into the tournament. So hopefully they can keep that up, get another win.
Yeah, it would just mean so much to them, especially with the team that they have this year, Mountain, and you know, just everything that's happened for the women's team this year. If they could make it far in A10s, that would be amazing for them. And that just about wraps it up for us this week. If you can't make it out to see the Explorer Report, be sure to tune in next week for our coverage. Keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting goexplorers.com. You can also check out the digital edition of the Collegian, which now features SportsLine content.
Also check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalle TV and on Instagram at SportsLine LTV. We welcome you to send your thoughts and suggestions there. This week's poll is, are Shamrock Shakes even good?
Yes, they are, and if you're one of those weird people that don't like mint, then you're a coward and Natural Selection is coming for you. That's all I have to say on that. And for our entire SportsLine team, I'm Siobhan Nolan.
And I'm Libby Gilliland. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you at the game.